Good afternoon all. Thank you very much for coming today. I'd like to briefly introduce myself before I start. Shihou Shoshi is one of the legal qualifications in Japan, specialist for registration matters, including company registration. Of all my clients, about 70% are non-Japanese, and most of them come to my office wishing to start a company. And what I do is to provide services for them from the legal side. Now, you are interested in starting up a company, and I hear most of you are already residing in Japan. Today, I'd like to talk about the general procedures and important points when foreign people start their businesses, in particular, establish a company in Japan. Do you know what foreign entrepreneurs living in Japan have to check at the very first when starting up a business? Your visas. There are mainly two types of visas. One of them doesn't have work restriction, and the other does. These four types of visas don't have work restrictions. And how many of you have one of these visas? 定住者、日本人の配偶者、永住者の配偶者。Thank you very much. And you can start a business right away. And any other people, for example, people who are working for a company with a working visa and want to start a business, you need to change your visa to a business manager visa, with a few exceptions. In order to apply for a business manager visa, you have to meet the next 3 points. Establish your company with 5 million yen or more capital and keep the same amount as net assets. If you have earned the money, there's no problem. But if you borrowed the money, you have to provide additional information to the Immigration Bureau, like detailed repayment plan and loan agreement. You will also need a private office space with installments for work, with lockable doors and training plate must be put. If you want to use a serviced office in Tokyo, it's approximately 50,000 yen per month at least. And as your remuneration, 200,000 yen or more per month. I understand these requirements are hard to meet for people who want to start a small business. While people who have visas with no work restriction can start a business without incorporating a company, but simply as a sole proprietor, 個人事業主 in Japanese. The procedure for this is very easy. They can just submit notifications to tax offices. But we don't have much time today. I'll be focusing on how to set up a company in Japan. There are mainly 3 advantages by incorporating a company. First one is trust. Doing a business as a company means you get more trust than as a freelance. Some companies don't want to have business relationships with freelance workers. And second one is liability. Liability of a sole proprietor is unlimited. If you incur debt of more than the amount you invested into your business, all debt is personal debt. While in the case of a company, your liability is limited. For example, even if you invest 1 million yen into your company and 2 million yen debt is left, you can give up only 1 million yen unless you guarantee. And third one is tax. Personal income tax is progressive taxation. The more income you get, the higher tax is imposed. The maximum tax rate is nearly 50%. On the other hand, corporate effective tax rate is roughly 25 to 35%. So the taxation rate doesn't go as high as 50%, even if you earn a lot of money. Generally speaking, if you get more than 8 million in income a year, it may be better than you incorporate a company to save tax. Okay, now, let me explain about two main company types and their structures. In Japan, there are two limited liability companies, 株式会社 KK and 合同会社 GK. KK is the most traditional and established type of company, and GK was created about 10 years ago. It's newer than KK. There are a lot of differences. To briefly explain, the taxation rates are the same for KK and GK. As I mentioned earlier, your liability is limited in both types. The good thing about GK is that it allows more flexible structure than KK, and initial cost is less by at least about 150,000 yen. Although, I want you to note, if you are planning to do business with rather traditional companies, they may not want to do business with GKs because of role recognition. While if you are targeting on individual customers or wholly owned companies, this isn't much of an issue. So it's very important to consider your plans and targets and determine which type of company suits your business. Please visit our website or JETRO website if you are interested in more details. Next, let's look at the general procedures for company incorporation step by step. Number one, check on the preparation. You should check with that of yourself and some other members. License or approval is required for certain businesses, such as travel agencies, second-hand business, and real estate agency, etc., and secure a head office. As you may know, it is difficult to rent an office for foreign people, in particular, people who just started a business. So, many of our clients use a serviced office when they start. Private space is small, but to look on the positive side, you can have it at low initial cost and with good facilities and clean common space. And just one more thing, in the case of joint startup, consider partnership agreement. It is often the case people start business together but separate in the end. It is natural there will be a gap in directions, motivation, etc. As time goes by, one or the other gets kicked out or leaves. So, I recommend to have a written agreement between the partners to avoid conflicts. Number two, outlining. First, decide company type. And second, fix basic information like trade name, board members, amount of capital, number of shares allotted, etc. Most people take 2 to 4 weeks up to this point. Once you come to this stage, rest of the procedures goes first. Number three, preparation of required documents. The main ones are your income show certificate of personal sale issued within 3 months. You can get it at City Hall, and your bank passbook. Number four, drafting and executing documents. Based on the information prepared in step number 1, 2, 3, we draft documents and you sign them. there are some documents to be prepared, but the main one is Articles of Incorporation, AOI, to set company's rules, basic information, and structure. Number 5, notarization of AOI. In the case of KK, the Articles of Incorporation has to be notarized by a notary public. In GK, the notarization is not required, so you can save notarization fee at approximately 50,000 yen. Number 6, capital contribution. Transfer the capital into your personal bank account. I'm sometimes asked if the company's bank account can be opened before incorporation, but it cannot be opened until the registration is completed. You keep the capital into your personal bank account and then transfer it after it's opened. But capital is seed money for business, so you can use it for your business even before incorporation. By the way, if you borrow money from, say, one of your friends and have it written on your bank passbook and return the money to your friends soon after, this will be illegal. Number 7, filing application for registration. File an application for registration of incorporation to the Legal Affairs Bureau once all documents are ready. Your companies will be incorporated by filing the application. The date of filing is date of incorporation. The Legal Affairs Bureau is open on weekdays only, so companies are incorporated on weekdays only. Number 3 to 7 takes 1 to 2 weeks. And number 8, completion of registration. The registration is completed within 1 week to 10 days. After that, you can obtain corporate certificate. There are 2 types of certificates. One of them is Certificate of Registered Matters. We call it TOHON. And the other is Certificate of Corporate Seal, Inkan Shomesho. And number 9, initial tax filings. Companies have to submit initial tax filing within 2 months after incorporation. There are 2 types of tax offices. One of them is regional, and the other is prefectural. You have to submit filings to both. If you don't, you may not get tax benefits, and more tax may be imposed. So I recommend you ask a tax accountant to handle it. Because one of my clients told me he would do the filings by himself, but he didn't. Now he is in trouble because tax officers came to his office for investigation. Number 10, opening the company's bank account. A bank account is necessary for business. Go to a bank branch that's nearest from your head office address and ask what they require for application. Unlike personal bank account, the company's bank account is not open on application day. They check your application for about 2 weeks. Sometimes they reject, but try other ones. Next, moving on to how much it costs for starting up a company. It depends on company's type and structure, but to give you a rough idea, you will need those as initial and running cost. Just to mention about tax, mainly there are tax imposed in accordance with company's income and tax imposed even if the company has no profit. corporate inheritance tax on per capita basis is imposed even if the company is in debt. The amount depends on company scale, but if the company has less than 10 million capital and less than 50 employees, it is 70,000 yen per year. This is the minimum. So please do take in consideration not only initial cost but also running cost, and make a smart choice to keep your company growing in the long run. Lastly, let's look at two cases from my clients. Mr. A, he had a spouse visa. He wanted to save time and cost, so he chose a GK and used his apartment as his head office. The capital was 10,000 yen. Of course, he got the owner's approval to register his company at his apartment address. We completed the procedure in a short time frame, approximately a couple of weeks. This was possible because he had a spouse visa. And his initial cost was approximately 170,000 yen in total. I think this was the simplest case. Next, a case for Miss B. She was working in Japan, but her visa didn't have long left. She loved Japan and wanted to stay doing her business. So she decided to incorporate the company and change her visa to a business manager visa. She also chose a GK, and she prepared a service office and contributed 5.5 million yen as capital so that she could apply for her visa. It took longer than Mr. A's case because she had to find an office, but we completed the incorporation procedures in about 6 weeks. After that, she applied for her visa, and new certificate of eligibility was issued about 2 months later. Her initial cost was higher than Mr. A's case since she applied for her visa and rented an office. And as you can see, cost and the time frame is vary depending on your situation, but I hope this information helped you to better understand the company incorporation procedures go. Good luck on your business. Thank you very much.